What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 67. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
I'm doing better than Eric Ten Hag. I'll tell you that much. But how are you doing after this whirlwind of a Premier League weekend, of a bunch of different leagues opening? How you doing? Did you consume way too much football?
Yes, consume the football that we needed and we missed. And if you missed another weekly podcast, do not forget to like this video. Thank you for liking the video. I sure hope you did. And thank you for subscribing to FC Wonderkid, you cheeky. And putting that alert button that helps a bunch us at FC Wonderkid. But yes, Premier League football is started. And Erik Ten Hag didn't get the win that he so desired. And I think it was like the 8 previous managers ever since Sir Alex Ferguson, they all won their debut match. So Erik Ten Hag didn't start in style. But I have to say this. Man United will never be a top 4 team with Scott McTominay starting. In my opinion, okay? Scott McTominay isn't the 6 they needed. And Erik Ten Hag in that game must be thinking, I desperately need Frankie de Jong. Okay? Scott McTominay was the problem in midfield. I'm going to say it straight off the bat. And he cannot be a starter for a top 4 or a Premier League title winning team, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, he almost probably should have been sent off at some point based on that one tackle. But I mean, I'm going to go a little bit further and say, listen, McTominay and Fred together as a double pivot did not work last season. Okay. This season, who's starting on day one? McTominay and Fred at the double pivot. So we're all focused on Frankie, okay? But that has become almost an obsession. And I get it. If you got this perfect transfer target that you just need to go after,
3 months.
Wonderful. But exactly 3 months. Think about all the other DMs or some pseudo defensive mid player that have come into the Premier League over that time period. You've got Boubacar Kamara. Would have been the easiest. Even if you don't use him day one, he's a hell of a player to have as cover.
Even in January for $5 million, you could have got him.
I know. I mean, yeah, and you've got Basuma that everybody fought after. You've got Calvin Phillips. Okay, he only wanted City, but all of these players made the move, and you focused on that white whale with one club that's a little bit hung up on things, right?
True.
And ultimately, the one thing we all knew that needed to be fixed. Manchester United has multitude of problems, right? They know this. It's like, cutting off one head and 6 grow back or something, because when it comes down to it, not one thing will make Manchester United bop up to the top of the table. Because if 18 goals from Ronaldo last season can't do it, it clearly is a whole lot more than just Ronaldo that is needed. But ultimately, one of the biggest things, if you ask every Manchester fan out there, what the biggest problem that needed to be solved during the upcoming transfer window to give Erik Ten Hag the best momentum moving forward, they would have said positionally,
CDM. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't even need you said it. I don't even need to say it, because ultimately they didn't get it done. And I don't know why you expected a different, and then you played Brighton, but I don't know why you expected a different outcome. But like you said, if all the previous managers have won their first game, right? Maybe there is a little bit of a difference in past repeating itself. Maybe this time around he just kicks on from here, and Manchester United is great.
It could be the case, and I understand that Fred is the one that's more at the back, and Scott McTominay does that box-to-box task. But still, having that double pivot that you shout out couldn't be the starting one in day one. And then I see James Garner, Ronaldo, and Varane. Those 3 on the bench all together. Just replace them and put them 3. Come on. Varane and Ronaldo especially. But James Garner proved himself at Nottingham Forest. And I think he just should have gotten a chance. Yeah. So let's wait and see with Man United what's going to come, the top 6. Those expectations that, 6th position is minimal, Erik Ten Hag. If you do not get 6th, problems will come. But I do think even if he gets below 6th position, Erik Ten Hag, he must stay. because the problem is deeper than just the manager. You need to take off the players. And yeah, getting a 6, fuck. And Scott McTominay was overshadowed by Moises Caicedo, okay? This is going to be his breakout season. We keep on saying FC Wonderkid community. You guys know. Moises Caicedo, Ecuador, and Brighton. The maestro. Come on. And McTominay, he knows.
The guy, he'll go into any tackle. He jump-started a lot of the counters that Brighton had. I mean, Brighton just, you could see it. Yeah, there's a system. And there's a system, and Caicedo knows how to play in it. And it just, he could have been gotten by Manchester United. I get it.
Exactly.
Like, it's just it's amazing. And who's the biggest target that's coming out beyond De Jong right now?
Who?
It's Leroy Sané. Like, that is not what you need right now, United. I get it. It's probably something that you need, but ultimately what you need has still not been fixed.
I'm sorry.
And they won't even give Garner a chance.
But
they won't even give Garner a chance.
Ain't the way, man. That is a desperate call. That, for me, it's like quickly. I swear I didn't know that was a link up still. And if you have Sancho there, Elanga, Garnacho, Martial can even drop on the wing, man. Oh my days. If it's for Sané to be a striker, because there's no strikers in this world available as it seems. But still, again, very desperate. But put down below your thoughts about Man United. The 2-1 loss that wasn't expected. And Varane, Maguire. Come on, Maguire started even. Varane on the bench. Oh, but yes. But another team started in style, keeping in Manchester. And we finally see now 2 goals of Erling Haaland going bold the right way. And yeah, no surprise there, right?
Yeah, no surprise. Although, hey, surprise, right? Erling Haaland is now on pace to score 76 Premier League goals this season. So stop the count. He's ready. No, I mean, you are going to see that exact goal.
Can Haaland score more than 25?
Goal. I still think there's a little bit of a transition that's going to happen here. I don't know. I honestly don't know now. Is he capable of it? He's absolutely capable of scoring 25 goals in the Premier League.
Kane, so.
The biggest worry is his health, how much he is going to be playing when you get into the congested fixture of Champions League group stage and all that fun stuff. But ultimately, man, that goal, De Bruyne waiting just long enough for Haaland to get that perfectly timed run directly in between the two center backs. I mean, you're going to see that goal time and time again this season. And he's so much faster. Erling Haaland is so much faster than people give him credit for. It's unbelievable. And I forgot about that. We talked all about how Haaland's going to do this, how Haaland is going to have an issue. But ultimately, if you've got a guy that has that combination of strength and speed, he's gonna get his chances.
It's his own worst enemy is himself, because that speed, that is tough on the ankles with his size and weight. But I really believe that if he focuses all his strengths on athleticism wise and off the field, what he's got to do, nutrition, and being a Ronaldo type beat guy, like Haaland can go bold. But yes, I agree with you. The setting up of that Kevin De Bruyne pass makes me think that De Bruyne might be the top assister in the end of the league, okay? Because that was a beautiful pass. And West Ham too, like, that was a tough match for Man City to start their Premier League campaign. And Guardiola says that I'm going to get that treble. And Haaland is going to start by going bold with a brace. And look, no surprise saying a top 3 Haaland expectations to be the top scorer. But Kane, Haaland, Salah, let's wait and see. It's a bold debate right now.
It's a battle. It's going to be a battle. But yeah,
Rice,
I mean,
Rice stays with West Ham too, as it seems, 2 people. So
yes, he does. That was his first Premier League game as a captain. Is that correct?
I think he had that armband. Maybe first start in the Premier League.
I think. Yeah, I think it was his first Premier League start as a captain. I could be wrong about that, but you know, and West Ham, you know, West Ham had their chances, right? West Ham, I think, will be a whole lot better a couple months in, a couple weeks in.
Yes.
But ultimately, I mean, I thought West Ham gave City a little more than maybe they were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to it, I still think, I don't think they're going to be as good as people give them credit, but they're definitely a good side. So it was a good game to watch.
West Ham with top 8 expectations too, like European spots, they need it. And David Moyes too, like to think of how he rebuilt and how the total vibe at West Ham changed. Like I gotta say, I am hyped. It's Scamacca. Let's wait and see if Scamacca does score those goals. Cornetto, done deal.
Cornet. Done deal. He was on the sideline. He was on the sideline. He was not on the sideline for the game, but he was there in plain clothes, ready to go. And all I can say is poor Burnley. Pretty sure their whole first 11 has been offloaded to all different teams in the Premier League. But
that's what's gonna happen to any team that gets relegated, as it seems. And I gotta say, I got a prediction here. If that team were to be relegated, that this player would stay in the Premier League, and I think you know where I'm going for. And it's a team that Fulham against Liverpool. Fulham did go bold with Mark Silva, and I'm gonna say this: I warned the world about this Palhinha man. Palhinha is gonna destroy in the Premier League, and he's so fitting to play in the Premier League. Everybody will be mentioning Palhinha to leave Fulham at the end of this season. And it's no surprise that he started in style against Liverpool. That is one of the best teams in the world. It's undeniable now that Palhinha has the quality. Now that he's in the Prem, so it's only the start, people. It's only the start.
It still baffles me. It baffles me how Fulham, out of all the teams in the Premier League, were able to land Palhinha.
Imagine United, like literally United, if they had Palhinha playing against Brighton. The match result would be different, literally.
They have blinders on. I don't know what they're watching. I have no clue what United scouts are watching. United fans have been calling. They've had short lists longer than Frankie de Jong for Manchester United. Frankie de Jong is not going to be the sole reason or the sole the part of the equation that gets you back to the top. It's going to be multiple right decisions that come cascading in a row. And Palhinha would have been a hell of a start for them, along with the other names that we talked about. But
20 million.
Fulham,
like 20 million, like, and that too, like, it enabled the whole team to be like they were. And then we see a guy like Mitrovic scoring a brace and showing to the world that I'm better than just championship level. I am at the level to play in the Premier League. And seeing him for the Serbian national team, I'm not surprised that Mitrovic is going bold in the Prem too. So you do you, Mitrovic, and keep going bold, man.
Man, he's a character, and it's got to be tough. It's got to weigh on him in terms of you just rewrote the record books of the English Championship and the expectations that sit on your shoulders. It's pretty impressive, and for him to score 2 goals for Fulham, not only that, for Fulham to take it to Liverpool in that first 45 minutes. That was the best 45 minutes of Premier League football that I've seen Fulham play since the Dempsey days. It could be. But he is like, here's the thing. Mitrovic looks like he has that chip on his shoulder.
True.
Okay. There was no expectation that he would automatically be, he was maybe a little too haughty her first couple times in the Premier League, right? After that first great showing that he had for Newcastle way back in the day.
True.
And I think he's learned from that now. He's been humbled some. And ultimately, if you've got better personnel and you get the chances that Mitrovic is going to find his way into every game and you put more of them away, Fulham could be a mid-table team. But I don't know. I mean, he becomes, okay, I've got a fact for you, a figure. Okay, let me see if I can deliver this properly here. Okay, not only did his brace obviously earn Fulham a point, but I believe Mitrovic became the first player in one Premier League game to not only blow by Virgil van Dijk in dribbling-wise, okay, but also he became, in the same game, one of the first players to force Van Dijk to concede a penalty. Okay, So I think what I'm trying to say here is not only did he dribble by Van Dijk, but he also forced him to concede a penalty, and that's never happened in the same game before
And
for Van Dijk.
that's a hell of a stat. Confidence-wise for Mitrovic, that's the world's best center back in the world. Man, so I mean, that's saying to the world that I am here to go bold, as we said. Mitrovic, man, I love that stat. To Van Dijk, too, like, again, more than 10 Premier League goals you'd expect, no? With Mitrovic.
Nah. Oh, yeah. I think that's probably easy to say, because if he can score 2 against Liverpool, something tells me he'll be okay against maybe Bournemouth, although, Bournemouth, we'll get to Bournemouth. But
True.
But I got to, before, we got to go to the Liverpool side of things, okay? Because I know you want to talk to about one player, but before we get to that, obviously, if you missed the Liverpool game, Thiago is likely out injured for an extended period of time. That is going to hurt. It is definite. There's no way around it. That is going to hurt them. But on top of that, we got our first big Jurgen Klopp excuse of the season, right? You may have seen what he said after the game.
What? No. I did see
the field was too dry.
But it is true. It is something used by teams not to dry the field or to put it wet. It's a tactic. And well, Klopp
one he's aware of.
He is aware, and Klopp highlighted it. But it is true. I understand that Klopp with those side comments. He does that sometimes. Even last season, he had a couple of 1 and 2 comments, and it's true. Thiago injury is huge blow, and honestly, that is a blow that can change the title expectations long term if it's a long term injury. Is it, Breton? I don't think is it like 3-4 months?
No. It's not that long term. Okay. But we do know that Thiago has obviously had a bit of a issue with coming back, right, in form, right? True. It takes him time to kind of snap back. So I believe it's at least 4 weeks. But we'll see. 4 weeks is better than 4 months. So there's that. But I think Liverpool's, while their depth will already get tested, I think they've got enough in the tank to get them through these early fixture days before it gets really crazy. But I'm sure you want to talk about the other catalyst. We talked about one striker, Mitrovic, but there was a catalyst that came onto the pitch, and who was that?
Definitely Darwin Núñez, in which that goal, I feel like it was a way of him saying, I should start in this match. And yes, he had a miss before he scored that goal, but surely, and I'm going to say it once again, I really believe Darwin, when he gets that confidence, 3-4 goals, just like you can see from Erling Haaland, is the same with Darwin. He can score easily, 4 goals, 3 goals. So that's going to happen once he gets acquainted with every single player at Liverpool, in which that's going to be very soon. The Luis Diaz connection with Darwin, man. That is one of the link-ups I really feel like in 2-3 years. It's going to be special. And Mo Salah, the top assister last season, already getting those assists to Darwin Núñez, pinpoint for that goal. Just like De Bruyne did with Haaland, Salah did with Darwin. So bold duos are coming to the Premier League. And Darwin, with World Cup 2, he's going to go right to the top, man. Right to the top.
All right. You see it. And the more comfortable he gets, I'm excited once he really feels a part of that squad, what Darwin's going to look like. I don't know. Do you think he's got 25 in him? Because I'm a little worried about that compared to obviously Haaland, who can create something out of thin air. But is Darwin capable?
Darwin is capable of getting more than 20 Premier League goals next season next to Mo Salah. And he's most certainly can. I'm not saying he's going to, but he can get the 25 mark. He can. But it's a bold prediction, and he has to start ahead of Firmino to get those 25 goals. But 20, I believe it's going to happen. I'll say this. He'll get at least 2-3 hat-tricks in the Premier League this season. He'll get hat-tricks. Okay. So, because in the game that he feels he's confident enough to score 1, he'll score 3. So, I believe he'll score 2 or 3 hat-tricks in the Premier League. So that's a bold prediction of Liverpool.
That is a bold prediction.
And Jota all being involved, I really believe that's going to happen. So put down below your thoughts about Liverpool. The Thiago Alcantara injury, does it change your expectations for the season? What do you think, community? And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like this video. It's a huge help for us. Now Tottenham solidifying themselves to get that top 3 from the predictions, man. And Tottenham Southampton 4-1, and Harry Kane and Son didn't even score. So this is going to go bold this season, and Conte bold. He wants that trophy, man. And Tottenham playing with intent, man. So organization, creme de la creme. Go Conte.
Yeah. I mean, they conceded first too, I believe, right?
True.
Southampton scored first, and Dejan Kulusevski, man. I mean, if he plays like this the whole season, if he's even remotely consistent for the full 38 game season, 38, is that right? Yeah, 38 game season. The Spurs attack is going to be really tough to shut out at any point. I mean, come on, you've got. I don't even know. Was Richarlison in the game? No, he wasn't.
No, not even.
He's injured. He's injured.
Yes.
Yeah. So you look at that and you have. Okay, are there too many chefs in the kitchen? Are there too many guys that need the ball at some point when you're trying to put them all there? But
no,
the depth is just indescribable. I mean, it's gonna be a very, very good day if they can get, or a good season if they can get them all clicking and working together. But Kulusevski, yeesh. I mean, if this is his kind of like, this is what I'm here for all season, we might be seeing one of the best young players in the whole Premier League by the end of the season.
I agree. So. Kulusevski right now is the top assister in 2022 in the Premier League right now. So Kulusevski, in terms of stats, providing for the people to score, he is going bold. And I agree, squad depth, Tottenham had Bissouma and Perisic on the bench. The bench. So Sessegnon going bold to the right way. I'm very happy that Sessegnon is playing, showing his quality. And Conte, he brings in 6 transfers this transfer window, and all have immediate impact. If they don't start, they improve the players that have start, because competition means quality, and Tottenham Conte knows that. A player that played with so many of the greats, Baggio, Conte knows that you need teammates and you need the mans to be the best. I'm going to say this. Tottenham and Conte are clearly, in my opinion, the team that is physically the most ready in the Premier League. Physically, no Tottenham player stops. The work rate is insane, and I really believe any team in the Prem, City, Liverpool, okay, they're going to have a tough time away or at home against Tottenham with Conte. Defensive-wise, in that counter that people say they don't attack, they counter like the best, okay? The best in the world. With Kulu providing the goals, Kane, Son, Richarlison just being straight bullets forwards. That is scary scenes. So again, and Tottenham.
And 3 of the 4 didn't score, like you mentioned, right? 3 of the 4 did not score yet. It was Eric Dyer, right? It was whoever else. Oh, Ryan Sessegnon. Which, by the way, come on, that story. I can't tell you how many times we all thought probably Ryan Sessegnon's time in a Spurs shirt was likely kind of limited, was at the end. And maybe it still is, I don't know. But maybe Conte sees something in him. And it was great to see him get that goal. He actually had a pretty dang good game versus Southampton. But you're referencing, I think, obviously the fitness regime. You're referencing, I don't know if you saw that video that circulated of Spurs. The vomiting after 40 full field sprints that was open to the public, or maybe to ticketed public. I'm not sure. But it was open to literally people there watching them throw up.
Yep.
Just hysterical. So if you can take that type of embarrassment, I guess, or that type of whatever, that becomes the norm, then a 90-minute match in the Premier League isn't really going to be that tough for you. So
I agree. It's just the demands. It's just like, I would have loved to have seen, I'm not going to reveal my age, but I'm in my 20s. And Conte, like when he was a player, seeing footage of him, he was ruthless. And me seeing him as a manager, I can only imagine how he was as a player. But his teams play in a way that I admire. Just like Simeone, when he plays fairly, okay? Conte, I feel like, is a much fairer coach, and he plays with much better style of play. But it's just great to see how it translates. And Oiberg, all those players, man. Langley, too, on the bench. That's a good player on the bench, too. Better than he was at Barca. So, yes, people. But down below, your thoughts about Tottenham. Are they going to sign another centre back? There's still a bit of news about that. Yes, put down below with Conte thoughts. But now, staying in London, we have Crystal Palace, Arsenal. And Arsenal started their campaign in style. And I'm going to say it. Saliba, didn't he play? Didn't he ball out against Crystal Palace? He did. And Saliba, once again, one of the best young centre backs in the world. And at the end of this Premier League season, he will be compared with the best Premier League centre backs overall. No surprise. Yeah. So keep on going, Saliba.
I'm with you. And you know what? He plays like he's been there with Gabriel, with White, who obviously was lined up as a right back for the most part. But he plays like he's been in that Arsenal defense for the last 3 years. Even if it wasn't physically, maybe he was there spiritually, and it showed. I am a little bummed at how Crystal Palace played. I thought they'd play a little more on the front foot, although I think Zaha almost had multiple opportunities to at least get on the scoreboard. But when it comes down, watching
that game, I didn't feel that one.
You didn't?
I felt like Arsenal was. I have to say, I was one of the first games like in the past year. I say Arsenal really controlled. They really controlled. With Zinchenko, Martinelli at the left. He was. I'm gonna say this. Zinchenko at the left allowed Martinelli a lot of times to build up from the middle with Gabriel Jesus. So I feel like Crystal Palace got bullied by Arsenal.
Okay. I wouldn't go as far to say bullied, but ultimately they definitely were the better team. Absolutely were the better team. I also think Zinchenko, he's going to get better. He got turned around a couple times. I think that's what kind of I'm referencing. But all in all, Zinchenko's debut was exactly what we 100% expected from him. Really good. Right? He's going to be a phenomenal. That's another. I know Man United wouldn't have gone in for Zinchenko probably. I don't know, because Man City to Man United rules. I don't know what's out there if it's unspoken. But ultimately, that's another guy that was just left on the table and it avoided because Frankie de Jong blinders are on and nobody wants to look elsewhere. But anyway, Arsenal, you can't. That was a great first opening match from them. That back center back three is going to be a tough defense this entire season. And with
Tomiyasu, Saliba starts. Saliba still starts. And again, Saliba is going to be the best center back at Arsenal, ahead of Gabriel and ahead of Ben White, because the quality, he's above. I think Arteta has understood that. All the personal grudge, put that aside, and let's try to win a Premier League that Arteta, that is the biggest doubt. Is he the guy to win a Premier League, or is he the guy to get Arsenal to the top 4? Let's wait and see. But Saliba, Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, these are right players for a rebuild. So,
Jesus.
It almost.
I thought he kind of forced it a little bit. What do you think? I think he was trying almost too hard, but he was incredibly bright that first 20, 30 minutes. It almost felt like he was going to get that goal like right away.
True.
And then it just felt like he was forcing it the rest of the game. But I think the more he settles in, he's going to know, when to try and slalom through the defenders and open things up, and when to lay it off or push it out to the wings. And there's no doubt you see quality there. That one part where he got it outside the 18, he did a couple, I don't know even what you call that move, where you just shuffle it really quickly from right to left. Boom, he did that not once, but twice around the center backs, and boom, he was open. It is just great stuff. So I'm excited.
Uma pastilha, a gum. That's how you translate it.
Okay,
Elastic.
There you go.
But I agree. Like he's definitely doing it what he has to do. And in terms of I know Gabriel Jesus, we gotta judge him with goals, but outside of the goals, he did everything he could do for Arsenal. And again, watching that game, Arsenal fans, you got to be hyped for what's to come. So put down below your thoughts, Arsenal fans. Do you still believe you need another signing? What do you need to go to the Champions League? Or if you're going to go to the Champions League, your predictions, anything that we didn't touch about Arsenal, put down below. So, and now here, staying with the Prem, we still have Everton and Chelsea and Everton. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. Lampard, what's going to happen now? Like, I am going to say this too. I'm going to criticize Everton and Chelsea. Because the style of play I saw from Chelsea, it needed a bit of sugar. And Tuchel, I feel like he knows that his team is going down. So definitely, I fully expect the transfers. They're not done. Chelsea isn't done after Cucurella. So if they got to improve, man. They got to improve what the style of play right now.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. The biggest one that's out there right now, at least circulating in the States, is what? Aubameyang to London?
Whoa,
back to London?
No, man.
You know, that's one that just keeps hitting hard over here. It's
15
on
million,
all the
right?
outlets.
15 million.
Something like that.
Man,
Yeah, something
Barca,
like that.
I'm not going to criticize Barca doing bits to get that money, but still,
they got to register.
Well, that's a whole other convo. Yeah, true.
Chelsea still, it feels more like they're a selling team right now because Timo Werner just got the here we go treatment from Fabrizio Romano. He's headed back to Red Bull Leipzig, and that's permanent. That ain't getting done, or ain't getting undone, I should say. And then the other one that's being talked about on his way out is potentially Hakim Ziyech. And we'll see what happens there. And then there's Callum Hudson-Odoi, right? Like, again, 21 years old now, should have left. He was, I believe, the subject of maybe it was a preliminary bid of somewhere around 50 million, 60 million euros.
Bayern,
we don't know how true that was. Bayern Munich should have taken that because now what they're trying to do is get him a loan move to Southampton or something. So ultimately, they won. They got the win. They put me to sleep in the process for the full 90 minutes. I think the last 30 minutes or so when he injected other players into the mix. Cucurella, even Christian Pulisic had a pretty, bright game for the most part. But really what it comes down to is it was like watching paint dry for the most part. And I don't think he wants to fully play like that the whole season, but it did get the job done against Everton. I almost felt bad for Everton that they couldn't, sneak out at least 1 point for them. But hey, upside, Broha got a little time up front. We'll see if that amounts to anything in the future, whether or not he's staying. But there's still so many questions about what Chelsea is going to do and why they felt the biggest need for them right now was to splash 55 million euros, maybe up to 75 million euros on one player just so Man City couldn't get him.
I feel where you're coming from with that mention of Cucurella. And true, and City seemed keen on getting him, but once it passed the 50 million, I feel like the agents thought they had to get something new, and Chelsea, they were the ones that were willing to bid that amount, it's staggering for me. But you mentioned ins and outs, and I'm going to say this. Chelsea out already this season. You have Lukaku, you have Timo Werner, you have Rudiger, you have Levi Colville, academy product. Marcos Alonso is going to leave too, and Hudson-Odoi on loan. So this is a different squad. Straight off the bat, just from the outs. And ends now. Koulibaly, Sterling, Aspie stays. Another extension of 2 years. For me, that is an excellent decision, by Chelsea, because the right wing back is still a problem in my opinion, but Aspie can play right wing back and center back. And so center. Club legend, Aspie, great option to stay. And Wesley Fofana I have here. Is it going to happen? The 85 million, the price tag is clearly because of Maguire. He was the benchmark. Maguire became the benchmark of a center back, leaving Leicester, 85 million. So Wesley Fofana will only leave for that price tag. If they're not desperate, that I understand. They have to bargain themselves that they're not desperate, because they aren't. For real, really. Like, they still have they extended his contract until 2026. before he played with the ACL injury. So, yeah, no, they don't need to put it faster than it is. So I really believe Fofana, 85. It's going to be 85. So Todd Boehly.
Wow.
Ins and outs.
Todd, yeah.
And Carney Chukwuemeka of Villa, which Tuchel has promised a lot. And my final thing about, I want to do a prediction now here on the podcast, episode 67. And I'm going to say this here, because I really believe from what I'm seeing, this is a little bit of a bold prediction. I believe by the end of this season, Thomas Tuchel will be sacked, man. Because I feel like Todd Boehly, I know Tuchel and Carney Chukwuemeka, there was a talk to convince him. But Gaga Slonina, I see a lot of news of Michael Edwards coming to Chelsea to be the right-hand man of Todd Boehly, to be the sporting director of Chelsea. And what I got to say is if Michael Edwards becomes that guy, the best decision ever, okay, by Chelsea, in my opinion, because that man changed Liverpool in his transfers. The insight he did was through the roof. And I really believe that Tuchel is a manager that likes to have a grip, likes to make the decisions, likes him doing the dirty work. And Michael Edwards, I feel like they might clash in certain decisions. So that is my prediction. Michael Edwards, being the transfer guru he is, will be the sporting director of Chelsea and will make Chelsea the third in the Man City-Liverpool race in the next 2 years. I believe in this.
Well, if that's your prediction, you got to go at least one further. If Michael Edwards is installed as the right-hand man, who becomes boss? Who will lead the charge?
I could see a guy like Nagelsmann, man, after Bayern Munich. I don't know. This is a quick shout-out because, again, I wasn't expecting that one. But Michael Edwards, being the transfer guy, having a big influence in the Bundesliga, I really believe he's a numbers guy. I know Tuchel is German, okay? But I really... Nagelsmann, I feel like, would listen to him. And Tuchel, I don't know if he will. That's my doubt. It's just a doubt that Michael Edwards, man. I really... I like that shout, and people remember him. Chelsea fans especially. This man is the man that made Liverpool be great. He will make Chelsea great in transfers again.
Through all of Fenway Sports Group. I mean, it's become an evolution under him, and he has been incredibly calculated in what he does and purposeful. Whether or not he can do that again is going to be interesting. Yeah, Leipzig, I mean, that's exactly why.
He did it at Leipzig.
I mean, if he could keep replicating it, I think Chelsea fans would be great. But that's a whole nother rebuilding process. And I do wonder. It does look like Thomas Tuchel is like, he just looks a different person. He doesn't look jovial, happy. I mean, he never does. I guess I don't know. I'm thinking way too far into it when it comes down to it. But like, all doesn't seem so happy at Stamford Bridge. But who knows? I mean, they could kick on. They still have some very, very quality players. They still have the ability to potentially, get one or two more in. And before you know it, we're talking about them in the top three again. But I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen here, man.
And again, I'm gonna say it, people. Remember the name Michael Edwards. He is at the level of Luis Campos that is at PSG, in my opinion. So put down below your thoughts about Chelsea. What's going to come? What do they need new? Is Tuchel going to stay for sure? Am I just waffling here saying Tuchel might leave with Michael Edwards coming? Put your thoughts down below about the Prem. And yeah, I mentioned PSG fast. Can we go to the PSG camp?
Well... Yeah, I guess, but I'd really like to give a little credit to a couple of the other small guys within the Prem before we move on.
No, there's someone, definitely. Oh no, definitely. Sorry. Now how you phrased it.
Just for a second, because it started out shaky. I mean, let's be honest. Leeds United did not look the greatest. They conceded first, but I do have to. You have to see that there's a resolve there. Right, that there is a physical kind of a difference that's only going to gel more, that's only going to be just a cornerstone of the quality that comes out of Leeds United that isn't always quality in the form of tactics, quality in the form of technical ability, but they will be one of the hardest teams to play against because of how they approach the game. And you can now see Premier League fans and Leeds United fans in particular that might have been skeptical about Brendan Aronson's slight frame.
Come on.
This kid will never stop running for you. Okay? And his movement, his purpose, everything he does has gotten so much better, exponentially better just over the last 2 seasons. And I can only imagine that the Premier League will not break him down. It will only make him more razor sharp. So am I talking about him up there in the upper echelon of like the top 10% of players in the Premier League? No. He's a young player. He's a young player that he is going to be that kind of fulcrum or that kind of cornerstone that Leeds United has because it's everywhere in that roster now. Christensen plays the exact same way. Tyler Adams plays the exact same way. Mark Roca has a little bit of that aspect to him as long as he can stay healthy for a full season. When it comes down to it, Leeds United isn't going to finish top 5 or top 6. But I am looking at it and saying, I do not think Leeds United will be in a relegation scrap this season. I do not think that at all. I think they will be comfortably mid-table, and there should be reasons why. Now, I cannot say the same. Watching Aston Villa was pretty uninspiring. How about you?
True. And I just want to say on Leeds, because you touched a good topic for me. It's like the timing of all this, like leading up to a World Cup, Jesse Marsch is but developing here 2 beasts for the U.S. men's national team with Tyler Adams and Brendan Aronson. And I might say this, leading up to the World Cup, Brendan Aronson might be the best player in form in the U.S. men's national team. That can be the case, okay? So I sound like you're like the Philadelphia Union fan, right? And I love to see him, man. But Brendan Aronson, I was shocked with the movement that he had. And Christensen, you mentioned fast. And again, this is going to be Rasmus Christensen at the right will be one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League, okay? Staying at Leeds will be very, very difficult because the progressive passes going forwards, he is at the right place when they lose the ball, when they win the ball, anything. Without the ball, you got to look at a player, and Christensen is that type of dude because the in-game IQ, very, very, very high. So Jesse Marsch is doing bets. And Rodrigo scored. Rodrigo Moreno scored. So we might see that striker that Leeds need with Rodrigo. So he has to go bold, and let's see if he keeps on going. And for me, it's just crazy. Imagine if Charles de Ketelaere would have chosen to come to this Leeds team with all the talent they already have. Like, oh my days, man. It's going to be very good. No relegation battle.
They've got Joey Gelhardt. I'm sure he could get something done for them. They've got a kid in the academy that just scored 4 goals in I believe it was the Premier League 2 opening fixture for them. But ultimately, I believe they are going after Kalamuendo from PSG.
Oh, what a good one.
I think would be a great piece for them because it fits in very, very nicely with what I think Marsch is trying to accomplish. So
cheap.
I'm excited, but you know what I'm not excited about?
The Villa,
well, no, yes, and we can segue into that. But like, how do I get a Leeds United jersey without paying 20 flipping pounds for a delivery fee? Can somebody tell me about that? But anyway, we got to move on with that because, there were 2 misfires, right? You had Aston Villa misfired and you had Nottingham Forest misfired. More specifically, Jesse Lingard misfired. Jesse Lingard, you ready for this? He had 39 touches in the full 90 minutes. Okay, he lost possession 9 times. He won 0 out of 6 duels, but he had 1 key pass. 1 key pass. So if you're looking for an influencer, you're looking for somebody that jump starts that attack or creates that attack. I don't know if it's going to be Lingard. Is it 1 game and we write him off for the rest of the season? Exactly. No. But ultimately, Jesse Lingard has to produce more if Nottingham Forest, kind of wants to stay up. But we'll see. But
and Villa too, man. I'm just going to lead up to that. Bournemouth, the relegation prime team that everybody says straight off the bat 20th. They went bold and they showed Villa, you can spend all the money, but we can beat you. And that's what will happen. And I believe for Villa, though, it puts an eyebrow, and this is not the proper way to start your Premier League season. Stevie G, with all those transfer businesses, man, people are going to be judging, man, just because of this result with Bournemouth. So let's wait and see how they answer, man. But but Newcastle, I want to say too, man. They're getting those 2 goals. What a goal by Fabian Schär straight off the bat. Like, bullet goal. And Bruno Guimaraes, man, once again, showing the class, showing why he has to be mentioned. We're one of the best players outside of the top 6. And Bruno Guimaraes, for me, he plays for Brazil. With the quality he has, if he played at a better team, he would be starting for Brazil. And I can tell you, Bruno Guimaraes is much better than Fred. Much better than Fred. So these are my thoughts, in my opinion. And keep on going bold, Newcastle.
I don't disagree. With that. And yes, Newcastle made easy pickings out of Nottingham Forest, and this is going to be I don't know. I feel good about my predictions right now. But we'll revisit that.
8th position, Crystal Palace.
Yep. Well, okay, I don't feel good about that one. Man, why'd you have to bring that up?
Because Newcastle's my 8th. My Newcastle's my 8th.
Brighton's looking good. Fulham's looking good. Leeds is looking good. And you got to bring up West Ham.
True. No, Leeds definitely. No, definitely. You're a big advocate.
We'll see.
Let's see. Top 12 can be the case for Leeds, but let's wait and see. Put down below your final predictions of the Premier League. We want to see rank them 1st to 12th. We're going to answer that comment. I guarantee. So go bold in the comment section saying your predictions. And yes, mention Kalimundo, and I did mention PSG before. And I got to say, come on, Lionel Messi. You are going bold by scoring those bicycle kicks. That was a beauty, and 2 goals and 1 assist. Lionel Messi is starting Liga in style. So let's wait and see if he goes bold in the Champions League. But PSG with Galtier, man, it's looking good. It's looking very good.
Yep. I think, come on. I think I called this one how many months ago?
True. You said Galtier to PSG even before there was a slight rumor of Galtier going. So
like I'm not one to pat myself on the back, but it makes sense. And but the goals still remain the same. It's still Champions League or bust. And yes, it's wonderful that Messi looked like he was having fun.
And Neymar
looked like he was having fun, right? And when it comes down to it, do I love what Luis Campos has done so far with their incomings? Yes, I do. Vitinha, great. Ekitike, I think he overpaid, but it's a loan to start, and whatever. I mean, he could be great. He could make. I would have rather them given Kalimundo a chance, but ultimately, none of this matters until you get to the Champions League. Okay, because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Ligue doesn't matter to them. It's training. You might as well be on the training pitch. And it's just the goal still remains the same, and this needs to happen. A Messi overhead kick needs to happen against Manchester City in a semifinal.
That would be Juve.
Not Claremont.
That would be Real Cristiano levels with Juve. But seriously, I was pretty shook when I saw that goal of Messi. And you mentioned Neymar, man. 1 goal and 3 assists, being involved the whole game, and happy Neymar. This is what we have to see before a World Cup 2. And even so, when Neymar scored the goal, Luis Campos and Nasser, they had a talk between each other, almost like, oh, good decision. We say it's for him to stay. So, like, again, it's a big season for Neymar, inside and outside. I feel like he's got a lot of voices inside PSG telling him, now's the time that we expect you to show the 220 million, Neymar. World Cup year, PSG champions with Mbappe, Messi. Now it's all or nothing, man. This is the documentary that they need now, PSG, this season. But I want to say this because I see the news, and it's sad. I don't think PSG want this. But I already had an eyebrow when Vitinha came, Renato came in. What Verratti in all this, Does he play with them? And as it seems, Verratti has the intention to leave PSG. Not going to say it's going to happen this summer, but a lot of reports are suggesting that Man City are going to snag Verratti. And that I gotta say, another midfielder and a bold one of the best in the world. He's one of the most underrated midfielders in the world, in my opinion, Verratti. So for Bernard Silva replacement, that will be ridiculous. Ridiculous. So
that would be pretty good. But Verratti, well, that basically it means it's a foregone conclusion that Marco Verratti is going to have the best season of his career if he's auditioning for other teams out there. So be ready for that.
It could happen, man. I really believe.
You think it's going to happen this summer?
Yep. Luis Campos. I feel like they already. I see 2 Frankie De Jong. I saw before.
Is this another Barcelona lever that I don't know about or something?
Well, the Barcelona lever got Lewandowski, got Conte, got Rafinha, So I like that love, but with PSG, Renato, Vitinha, I see Frankie De Jong news now coming, but I know Frankie's wherever. And they have another prospect now coming up. That is another midfielder that could start too.
Yes, they do.
So it's like I don't know, but the Verratti, I could see him being. Like, I did a lot for this club. It's time to go. I could see that. So, just warning the community. That can happen. Yeah,
well, I hope for his sake that he doesn't, because if this is any year, this is probably the best year. They kept Mbappe. They've got Messi. They've got Neymar. They've got people that it seems like know what they're doing, or at least the past has shown that they know what they're doing at the helm of this club. Verratti, give it a year, man. Give it this season. Give it everything you got, and then move next season when it comes down to it.
You and Messi go to Barca after.
Yeah, seriously. when they pull that 15th lever, I'm sure whatever, they'll get whoever they want in. But yeah, you did mention. You did mention. I think we wanted to wait for Wonderkids a little bit later on, but we got to bring them up. Okay. Yes. Some people are now kind of revisionist history. They're doing this revisionist history type of thing on Warren Zaïre-Emery, saying that he's the crown jewel of the academy. Nobody's really talked about him over the last, say, 12 months. He's only really become more mainstream over the last, say, 3 to 6 months. But, man, we've been talking about Warren Zaïre-Emery for a little while now, okay? And the fact of the matter is PSG making him the youngest player ever to debut for the club. With as rich of a history as PSG has, okay, that tells you all you need to know. And I don't think this is one of those things where it's like, hey, we're going to play him and then we're going to sell him all for $35 million, okay, which I don't think he'd command right now. But ultimately, Warren Zaïre-Emery, I think, is going to see more time than most people expect this season. And I think he is going to become a squad player under Galtier. So we'll see. But it is great to see him finally get his just dues. And to really start to be able to prove himself. And man, 16 years old, unbelievable. I don't know what the hell I was doing at 16 years old, but it certainly wasn't not starting, but it certainly wasn't getting on a pitch with Messi, Neymar, and whatever.
And he levels with them, and that's the crazy part of Zaid. Like, people focus on Gavi being 2004. Warren Zaïre-Emery is 2006. And he's playing with Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar, and leveling at that level at CDM, one of the most difficult positions in today's day and age, man. The way that you have to adapt in the midfield, in the defense, he's everywhere, and he has the quality of play that if you have a listeners, if you have a build-up play with Messi, Vitinha, Neymar, it's not that you can't not lose the ball. It's not lose the ball and make the right pass at the right time. So you can't be the problem in the engine. And Zaire just fits in it, and that shows the world-class potential that we're talking about. So people, again, remember the name Warren Zaïre-Emery. And yeah, he 35 million. Yeah. I couldn't see that happening even with 35.
I know. But who knows? By the end of the season, you never know. I mean, Kalamuendo obviously has scored goals. He's a bunch older. He's like 6 years older than Zaïre-Emery. They're talking about 25 million for him. Ekatike had one good season, and he's 30 million, right? And he didn't even start most of that season, but he still did double-digit goals. So when it comes down to it, you alluded to something in there with Zaïre-Emery, right? we know that if Zaïre-Emery, if you take him
Mm-hmm.
and you put him in the Barcelona marketing machine, that he would be one of the most talked about prospects on the planet, without a doubt. Okay.
Well,
I
deservedly
almost feel
so.
that's
Just like Gavi.
right, deservedly so. Right. Okay. But there is a marketing machine. Like PSG hasn't quite yet figured that out. In terms of maybe they don't want that hype. I don't know.
Man.
But Barcelona, Gavi and Pedri have become household names for a reason. I get it.
No, but
But Zaïre-Emery,
Gavi bossed Portugal at 17, man. So it's like
right? I that's why I'm saying I'm not literally saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying if you put Zaïre-Emery in that machine, everybody would know his name because he's PSG. Nobody knows his name, and you're right because he hasn't bossed Portugal yet. Nobody necessarily knows his name. What I was getting at was drawing a very loose parallel, not from Zaïre-Emery to Gavi and Pedri, but more so over in the Bundesliga, Jamal Musiala.
yes.
Okay? You and I know Jamal Musiala. A lot of people know Jamal Musiala. Anybody that is in tune with the game probably played FIFA, probably played whatever. But does Musiala get the same clout and the same love and the same whatever as a Pedri and a Gavi?
He doesn't. He doesn't.
He doesn't. Right. Should he?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
I was like, Zaïre-Emery was kind of a means to an end. It was not me to compare Zaïre-Emery to Pedri and Gavi at all. It was more so to bring us to Musiala and what he did in that Bundesliga opener. Okay, for Bayern Munich, which, by the way, congratulations, Bayern Munich, on your 464th Bundesliga title in a row because whatever. Again, Jamal Musiala was phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal. And, I just think that, yes, if you put him in La Liga, you put Real Madrid on the back of his shirt, you put Barcelona on his shirt, everybody's going to know the guy's name. But because he plays for Bayern, there's still a big machine there. But yeah, Musiala does not get the love that he probably deserves at this moment.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. Musiala definitely deserves a lot more praise. Getting 2 goals in the Bundesliga in a 6-1 win, being the man of the match in Bayern's starting game. Sadio Mane scored 2, but Musiala once again. Winger, midfield, put him as striker if you need to. Musiala at 19 is that guy. And Dijkmanschaft are very lucky to have him. But I'm going to say this, man. Musiala is Musiala because he's at Bayern. If Jamal Musiala stayed at Chelsea Academy, that's where he was previously, he might be in the Callum Hudson-Odoi situation. So I feel like it's all decision-making, and the right decision you did at Jamal by going to Bayern Munich, and now it's only the start, man, okay? Bayern Munich are developing for the future too, and seeing the Leeds on the bench still, coming off the bench. Lucas Hernandez substituting with him. And Upamecano, I was hard on him before the season started, and he is delivering right from the start, man. Upamecano playing very well, in my opinion, and yes, looking very, very good. Sorry.
Did he make a full pitch run at some point?
Yes.
Did he go from the, I thought I saw
that. What a run, yes. And, I was shocked. So, Upamecano is really leveling up with Lucas Hernandez. And De Ligt, again, competition, he's improving a lot more. And talking about Bayern Munich, on the Wonderkids front with Jamal Musiala, too. We had a debut of Mathys Tel, 17-year-old in 100 days, I think. He had his debut for Bayern Munich, and that is an historic feat, and it's only the start with him. At Stade Rennes, he showed promise. At Bayern Munich, he will show results. So that's what it's all about, and the development, the development of Bayern Munich will show, once again, results with Mathys Tel, just like it's doing with Musiala. So it's going to be good.
We do have to just briefly chat about, is it bad for the game? Is it bad for the game that Bayern Munich is so dominant in the Bundesliga?
Well, bad for advertising maybe the Bundesliga ratings because everybody knows who's going to win it. But I'd say Bundesliga fans, focus on the second place race. Focus on it because it is interesting. And I gotta say though, but the competition in the Bundesliga is improving. But Bayern Munich it's they keep on improving outside the pitch, the scouting, everything. So man, kudos to them. Kudos to them because they're the only Champions League level team in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why. So, Bayern, keep on going bold. But I feel you, though. I feel you. It's hard, man. It's hard to advertise a league with the best player within Nkunku at Leipzig, but you can't do anything against Kimmich with his army.
Right.
So
I'm with you. But it feels like, it feeds into, and we see it all the time in the comment section, right? When we talk about the Bundesliga or we talk about Ligue. It just feels very Farmers League-y when it comes down to the fact that we're looking at it. Once again, PSG will win, and once again, Bayern will win. But you know what? We're one game into the season.
True.
A lot can happen. Injuries happen. All sorts of craziness happens.
True.
But man, for Bayern to put 5 goals up on Eintracht Frankfurt in 40 minutes? That's just it almost feels like, okay, just I don't know, pour the beer on top of them right now.
Maybe it works better with Mane. You know what I mean? Maybe Mane is the right decision to be the guy at Bayern Munich. But obviously, Lewandowski,
you think Lewandowski watched the game? You think he watched the game?
I'm sure he did. And that was a bit of motivation right there that I hope he has gotten, okay? Because, come on, best striker in La Liga, you'll have a tough battle with Benzema next season. But just Bundesliga, yes, we do focus on Bayern. But Dortmund beat Leverkusen. But I want to say this, man. Haller's injured. And Adeyemi, I think, got injured too. So I don't know how bad's the injury. But again, Dortmund, in terms of strike force, you got to feel for them. They get Haller. They get Adeyemi. They have Mukoko. And it's still not enough. Marco Reus has to be the one scoring the goal still. So I don't know. I feel like Leipzig ahead. I feel like Leipzig ahead.
And there were a lot of pundits out there that actually thought this would be the year because of the upheaval, because of Sadio Mane coming into Bayern and maybe Bayern being vulnerable of some sorts. They thought with Haller joining Dortmund that this would be their season potentially, right?
True.
Haller, we just have to make sure that we're 100%, with everybody. If you haven't seen it already, he's out because he has a cancerous tumor.
Yes.
Okay. So we wish him, give him, all the prayers up to Sebastian Haller. But they did go out and they are bringing somebody in that knows the league really well and has been in the top scorers in the Bundesliga for some time, and that's Anthony Modeste. So maybe they get some production out of him, but you're right. Yeah, losing Adeyemi, we don't know for how long. Gio Reyna's not back yet. So it really is going to all come down to the vets. It's going to come down to Marco Reus. It's going to come down to Julian Brandt and whether or not he can,
there was a lot of hype, man. True. People were saying they did the best transfer business in the market, man. And it's not making results. It's not making results. And
as long as the defenders aren't getting injured, that's when they get into big, big trouble. Dortmund, as we know last season, but Schlotterbeck and Sula could be a good pairing for hopefully years to come.
Hopefully, if they start together, hopefully that's the case, man. Because Dortmund, they have to trust those two, the Mannschaft, and the national team will do too. So yes, people, put down below your thoughts about the Bundesliga. What did we miss out? And just Angelino going to Hoffenheim and David Raum going to Leipzig. That only solidifies my position with Leipzig second, keeping Gvardiol and Nkunku too. So put down below your thoughts about the Bundesliga. Do you think Bayern's going to win it easily? Is Dortmund going to clinch it? Put down below what you think is going to happen. Yes. So with transfers, with Wonderkids, you wanted to shout out some Wonderkids, right, Bretson?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some Wonderkids out there. And I actually need to I need to go back on a take that I had. Okay, so when we were processing Ajax's transfer window, I obviously just couldn't really understand or figure out why they felt the need to bring back players, right? And especially for players that they obviously could have kept in the first place. And Brian Broby didn't really do much outside after he left Ajax, and yet they decided he was worth it to spend 20 million on to bring him back. Anyway, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say Brian Broby, he was the difference. He was one of the differences in Ajax's comeback win, their opening Eredivisie win. And I believe he became the youngest Ajax player ever to score in 4 consecutive Eredivisie games since when he joined back on loan from RB Leipzig back in the middle of last year to now. And he's, the youngest Ajax player at 20 years old to score in 4 consecutive Eredivisie games since 20 years ago. So in the last 20 years, the last one to do it was a certain player named Rafael van der Vaart. And he ended up being a pretty important player for Ajax and then a couple other teams, you may recall. So thank you, Opta, for that particular stat. But all I'm simply trying to say here is that Brian Brobby, they brought him back. They know him. They've worked out the kinks, whether it comes from, how he acts, his conduct, how he fits into the club, whatever. I think Brian Brobby will wind up being a pretty big signing for Ajax if they're going to try and repeat the Eredivisie this season.
I agree that was a game-changing one, and it was again. I know Haller. They sold him for the right price at the time to Dortmund, and they got 20 million. It is a big investment. I agree with you, but considering the strikers that there are available, I couldn't like Brian Brobby. Let's wait and see if he puts in those mad goals in the Champions League too, because in the Europa League he did show mad results too. So I want to see it in the Champions League, man, if it's gonna happen. And I want to ask you, with Ajax, does Anthony stay? Or he goes to United?
I mean, well, as of right now, no, I think Anthony does stay.
Okay.
And if Anthony watched the game, United versus Brighton, he's probably definitely staying. No, just kidding. Who knows? I think Anthony right now, they've already sold off a good portion of last season's title-winning squad. I don't think if they had their way, next summer probably for Anthony, if not the winter. But I believe he is sticking around. More sad news coming out of there. I know somebody that you and I were pretty high on, still are pretty high on. Mo Daramy obviously leaves off on loan. Heads back to Copenhagen. I think he couldn't fit in. He couldn't get it. Couldn't get it together.
It's not bad because he ain't better than Chico Conceição. I'll be honest with you. And I'm being like, I saw Daramy a year or two ago. Yes, he was very fast. Yes, he was very confident. But he was not the same. He was not the same. And Chico, coming with that desire, coming with the intention of being one of the best players in the Eredivisie, I fully believe Chico and Anthony, those two are going to be lethal if they play together. If they do. But again, Daramy, that's a tough one, but trust Chico Conceição. Trust him.
Well, also in the Eredivisie, we got to bring up, isn't it nice to see
Xavi
Simmons?
Yes.
I mean, it is just wonderful to see. He got his first Eredivisie start, and he looked good. I think he got an assist, right? I think they won pretty big. And when it comes down to it, Xavi Simons, it looks like he's going to be a pretty big part of their ecosystem this particular season as they try and pip Ajax at the top of the Eredivisie. And we also have to give a shout out to PSV product Johan Bakayoko because he scored his first Eredivisie goal. But I just love, I mean, come on, the Eredivisie, you cannot beat it for giving youngsters a shot. I mean, if you want to know who's going to populate La Liga rosters, who's going to populate Premier League rosters, and even Serie A rosters in some respect in the near future, you got to watch the Eredivisie. And man, PSV has already given shouts to Xavi Simons. They're already given opportunities to Bakayoko. That's probably due to Noni Madueke's injury. But this season, I think, is going to be pretty close at the top, and it's going to be PSV, Ajax all the way again. And
it's a promising one. Put down below who do you think is going to win the Eredivisie. I'm going to lean on Ajax, though. But what do you believe is going to happen with the Ajax and PSV? But Xavi Simons, man, he's really going bold, as we like to say. And, showing the intention of why Barca, PSG, they all were crazy with the contracts with him. And now PSV showing why. So I'm excited about that. But you said Eredivisie Development League is one of the greats, and I completely agree. And I think Primeira Liga, we need to see how they do and the quality of play, because Eredivisie style of play improves the youth because of that quality. And I feel like we're stepping to that level, but we're still not.
Okay.
But there's a lot of youth. A lot of youth to highlight. And I want to say, I said in previous pods that this player could play in the City role, just being a role player. But he's going on loan. He's going on loan, and he's going on loan to Pastor Riqui, okay, from Man City. I fully believe this player is going to settle in incredibly well at Passos, com os Castores, and he will cause a positive impact in Primeira Liga. He will have an effect, an immediate effect, because he has to show results to Pep Guardiola. And this man didn't even give credit to Pedro Porro. And Pedro Porro is one of the best right backs in Primeira Liga. Okay, he said he had to see more than 200 players in the City group, which I understand, Guardiola. But Riqui, if he's going to show himself to Guardiola for that winger spot with Mahrez, Foden, we have the whole that Man City that he has to go bold at Bot's show. Or he's another player that they just sell off, and they just go on the roll with this transfer business. You never know. So, but I like him, though. I'm very confident to see him.
Well, staying in there, that is an interesting spot. That's where he wound up, Riqui. But I have two questions for you. I watched some of the openers, or what I could in terms of the highlights, and obviously, I mean, is it safe to call Enzo Fernandez already a cult hero at Benfica?
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez is definitely one of the best players at Benfica and one of the best midfielders in Primeira Liga straight off the bat. The goal he scored against Michelin was one of the boldest goals I've seen in a debut for a team, man. First touch from a corner. Go watch the tape. Enzo Fernandes, 2 games, beautiful. 2 goals. Man, Enzo is literally positioning himself to go to the World Cup straight off the bat. So good for him. I'm not going to say he wanted the Libertadores to end earlier and come to Benfica, because in the contract, Benfica, great transfer negotiations. They stipulated Enzo can come at the end of Libertadores, but we get him for 10 million plus objectives. Instead of paying the 20 million, that it would be immediate. So what happened? River Plate got knocked out by Vélez Sarsfield in Libertadores, and he comes for the 10 million price tag immediately. So Benfica did the best deal out of this, and Enzo is going to be a household name, I believe, in 2-3 years worldwide. Absolutely. This is not just like Darwin. Enzo Fernandes is a guarantee money ball decision. Such a good player, man. He is gonna go ball. And I might say this: Enzo Fernandes, if Benfica goes through in the Champions League, they're gonna against Michelin. It went well. Enzo Fernandes, if he's in the Champions League, people will notice him hard. He doesn't commit mistakes. He scores a lot of goals, and he knows where to be. He can play at the 6, at the 8, at the 10. Very adaptable. Enzo Fernandes, the future of Argentina, and now at Benfica. So watch out, Camilo.
And already a hero at the Estadio da Luz. So I'm with. I think Benfica profited, though, in some respects, off of all of the transfer hubbub, all of the media hubbub around Julian Alvarez.
True.
I honestly believe that he just kind of scouting. I'm sure scouting teams knew exactly who Enzo was, right? But ultimately, because the focal point was on that transfer, I bet, things happen for a reason. And Enzo,
I wouldn't be surprised if Benfica wanted Julian and they just couldn't get him. True. Because City.
That's true.
I'll be honest. In the past, a player like Alvarez would have gone to Primeira Liga. Like we saw Lucho, Lisandro Lopez. I remember that's a player that came. Ramires, a lot of Brazilians. So it is true. I feel you, though. The Enzo, he did get a lot of clout since Alvarez was there with the 6.
And who knows? Yeah. And who knows? By the end of the season, we might be saying Julian Alvarez should have had a stepping stone in between River Plate and Manchester City.
I like his role.
I like his role,
though. I like his role being
absolutely
behind Haaland. I'm sorry.
I am just more comfortable in saying that I think Enzo Fernandez is going to be a bigger name than Julian Alvarez in the Argentinian setup for years to come. I think he will be the bigger name long term. I think he's doing it right, and I think in this case, fate threw him a curveball but it worked out nicely that he got to Benfica early, and he's able to kind of ingratiate himself from day one. So he's definitely one to watch. He's one that every time we talk about River, it's hard not to look at Julian Alvarez scoring 4 goals and doing this, but we always kept coming back to who's pulling the strings, who's doing it for Gallardo's River, and it was always Enzo in our eyes. So I am excited to see him hit that ground running. I had one other question within the Primeira Liga, a name that I don't hear you talk about much, or many people we talk to, Pedro included. I don't hear this name talked about much, and yet he's off to a fire start this year so far for Porto, and he had 21 goals last season.
Taremi.
What is your name?
Evan
what is your take on Evan Nielsen? What is your take on him?
Evan Nielsen, comparing with Darwin, he's not the same level that Darwin was last season. But Evan Nielsen is at the level of a team right now, a top team like Newcastle. Remember that West Ham giving 50 million for Darwin? Evan Nielsen is at that stage now. Evan Nielsen is a young, prolific striker that has promise. Very strong, good finishing. But I'm going to say this. If I was a Prem team looking at Porto, I would put all in on Taremi. Taremi, for me, is Evan Nielsen, but even better. The only thing that Evan Nielsen wins with Taremi is his age. He's younger, he's stronger, true. But Taremi, as a player, I'm going to say this. For 5 million, Taremi was one of the biggest bargains in the history of Liga Portuguesa. Because Taremi can assist. I'm going to say Taremi is the Harry Kane of Primeira Liga. Pronto.
Well, there you go.
He can score, he can assist, he's strong, he's fast, but Evan Nielsen's stronger and faster. But Taremi is that player that just plays next to him and he completes him. But leaning on Evan Nielsen, I think it's just going to be one more season, Breton. And seeing the shortage of strikers in today's beautiful game, I believe a top team will get Evan Nielsen because he'll put numbers and he's young. So
and because of that age, based on 21 goals last season, he's already got 2 goals, 2 assists in 2 games this season.
I agree.
And they paid $9 million for him, right? $9 million for him, I think.
For a striker, and it's with Brazil, it's like 90%. It's always those deals that. But I'm gonna say Porto. They got Veron from Palmeiras. I like that signing. They got David Carmo. That, for me, makes Porto have one of the best center-back duos. I'm going to say this. Porto, in terms of defense, have one of the best center-back duos I've seen in a long time in Primeira Liga. Pep, he's not aging. He's aging like fine wine, Pep. And David Carmo now with Diogo Costa at keeper. Diogo Costa at keeper? Tell me 5 under-23 keepers that play like Diogo Costa. There's none. Diogo Costa has it all, in my opinion. It's very hard to find. And that's why I really believe, in defense-wise, Porto is locked. And Uribe. And André Frank. They got André Frank from Estoril. Good offensive mid. Shows promise, but... Yeah, Porto, for me, the biggest quality, Porto's the manager. Conceição. Sérgio Conceição. The players are like him. Ruthless. Like I said with Conte earlier. They follow Conceição. But with Primeira League, I just want to say Benfica. Before I leave with Benfica, Neres. David Neres. Don't be surprised if he's the best player in Primeira Liga next season. What I saw against Michelin, those 2 assists to Gonçalo Ramos, crème de la crème, Neres is ready. And I think David Neres will be better at Benfica than he was at Ajax and than he was at Shakhtar. His best self will be in Lisbon at Benfica, and expect David Neres to go back to the national team with the form he'll be in Benfica, man. He showed he was lights out.
Expect him to do it looking as relaxed as he always is. No, it's funny that you talked about Porto's manager as being ruthless because it takes a certain ruthlessness to send your son packing for new pastures. But no, I know. It sounds to me that you're talking yourself into a Porto Primeira Liga win again.
I am. I do, but that's my choice, though. Yes, it is. It is my choice. And it's solely because of Sérgio Conceição and what they have. I believe Fábio Vieira and Vitinha were big misses. Totally. Okay, very difficult to replace. But I see Danny Loader playing good football. I was very impressed with him. And
Reading.
former Reading player that we saw next to Foden, Sancho, Danny Loader, keep on going bold at Porto now, okay? And I was surprised with that. And Marko Grugic. Grugic is playing not incredibly well, but he's playing well at Porto. Yeah. So another player that fits with Conceição and fits the system. So Eileen and Schmidt, man. I don't want to put all my chips on Roger Schmidt, but come on, man. It's hard. And I don't know if Gonçalo Ramos is going to stay at Benfica. So Wolves need him. Wolves need him.
They need him, but it sounds like they've started with Gonçalo Guedes, right, from Valencia first.
Great
and
move.
Then they'll move to Ramos. But Gonçalo Ramos, it sounds like they only want to sell him if it's permanent. They don't want to do a loan to buy.
No, that's
what I heard.
And it has to be permanent, man, because if he goes, the strikers that they still have Henrique Araújo, they have Yarim Shuk, they have options. Yeah. But Gonçalo scored a hat-trick in this Champions League qualifying against Michelin, and he could have scored 5 to 6 goals because of his positioning. So I believe Gonçalo Ramos will, regardless if he's at PSG, at Wolves, or at Benfica, Gonçalo Ramos, I believe, will have a breakout season in senior football level. I believe in this talent, Gonçalo Ramos, very highly. Not because of what he does on ball. It's because of everything he does off ball. He's special.
Fair enough.
Special.
Well, I would like to see him do it at Benfica for a season before he decides to move to the Prem. But hey,
shortage.
Sometimes the bright lights of the Premier League is way too hard to turn down.
It's true.
But hey, you know what else has bright lights and intrigues people?
Don't tell me
Los
MLS.
Angeles Galaxy. The Los Angeles Galaxy. We have to talk about this, right? You and I have been back and forth about it, but we got to talk about this because, hey, listen, Riqui Puig, for those that don't know, Riqui Puig has joined on a free, has joined Los Angeles Galaxy. He's joined on a long-term contract, and I know that everybody, including mine, everybody's gut feeling on this is that he has wasted away his life. Okay, that he has wasted away his talent, wasted away his career. Okay, I implore you to think differently about this. Okay, because think of the players that have started to come through. I mean, starting with Almiron at Atlanta United, starting with Barco, starting with a lot of these young bucks that have been able to move on. You could even go back far as Jack Harrison with NYCFC, now playing pretty prominent roles with Leeds United. Brendan Aronson. Okay, all these names. Anyway, it's different because Riqui Puig is a young Barcelona product that has been, unfortunately, whether it's maligned or supported or whatever you want to talk about in the media, right? It's all about Riqui Puig is wasting away on the bench or he's not good enough. Get him off my team, right?
Well, yeah.
One of the two camps, okay? This is a place for him to mold himself, for him to be loved by a rabid fan base, for him to learn a few things, okay, and to take on a leadership role in a team. And I think within 2 years' time, we're going to be talking about Riqui Puig, maybe not signing with Barcelona again, okay, 100% there, but he could sign with Valencia. He could sign with a Premier League team or wherever. Think of this as the stepping stone. MLS has proven in the last 3, 4, 5 years that they are not afraid to sell their best young players. And they are producing more best players every season, okay? More young players every season. I think that this is actually a very positive move for Riqui Puig, and I'm pretty sure that goes completely against the grain of what the majority of people upon face value think about this.
So Riqui Puig lands in MLS, and is he the best under 23 player in the MLS straight away?
Well, I think on paper you gotta say so, but ultimately,
look, LA Galaxy went bold.
They did.
LA
they
Galaxy went bold,
Yeah.
but the real question is, did Riqui Puig go bold? And I agree. It's all about time. Let's wait and see if he becomes that capitano that LA Galaxy would love to see him brew and become that guy. But it's hard for me, man. Being seen Barca talent that always would try their luck in Portugal, at a Benfica, at a Porto. I see Abel Ruiz at Braga. I even see Diego Lainez going from
I know.
Betis to Braga, and now I see Puig
Ben-
going
bench to bench.
to the
bench
MLS.
to bench.
No, but Lainez will start in Braga.
I
He's
know. Well,
gonna
I
start.
heard.
He's gonna
I heard
start.
Medeiros is better though. I heard
Who?
Medeiros is better.
Madeira? Nah.
Madeira?
No. No. And Ricardo
I'm
Horta is
just
gonna
kidding.
leave to
I'm kidding.
Benfica. But I feel you.
I
feel
did
you.
see that.
But
Yeah.
Puig, man, it's like, look, again, for LA Galaxy, they went bold. They did the right move for LA Galaxy. And isn't it true that if a player comes outside of the league, they have to shortlist that player? Like have a list of 10? Like have a list of 10 players that they have to say to the MLS that they want to transfer in?
No,
Or
there's
is
something
that
like
or is
something
that
called
like
a
a myth?
discovery. There's a discovery list. There's a discovery
Okay.
list that if somebody discovered Riqui Puig before, it's so archaic and dumb and whatever that it generally gets met. No, it's whether or not it fits into his roster limitations.
Okay,
There's young DP rules that we will not go into. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that Riqui Puig will play day one.
True.
He does not need to wait to be registered necessarily. He does need to wait for his ITC.
My point
but when
was,
it comes down to it,
when did this
it's
happen?
a seminal moment.
When did this
I know.
happen? Did this happen this summer? Was this like an intention? That's why I was going with that question. That did LA Galaxy they pitched something incredible for Puig? That can be the case.
They definitely did.
That can be the
They
case,
did.
literally. But
and it just goes to show you what the point I'm trying to make here is that MLS, albeit it is not in the same realm as the majority of the leagues we talk exclusively about.
Because you'll
okay?
never have Champions
but
League football.
MLS, I know
That's
there is
why.
that issue. But
That's
MLS is becoming a transfer player, and they will. You got to think about it in this limelight. Okay, 2022, 2026. Where does the World Cup take place? Over the next 4 years, there will be unbelievable investment in MLS as a domestic product, in SUM, Soccer United marketing, and getting those teams back to the States to get as many eyeballs as possible on football in the States, and it will grow. And people that were teetering on the edge previously will become fans, maybe stay fans, who knows, or maybe just be fans through the World Cup and then forget about it. Riqui Puig, whether you think about it in a negative light or a positive light, no publicity is bad publicity when it comes to Major League Soccer. And most people, while they are going to come down on either side, they're going to remember that Riqui Puig made this move. True. And next, it could be LAFC signing Yusuf Demir, who once obviously played for Barcelona. He's actually a potential signing target for LAFC right now, who just brought in Gareth Bale. And Gareth Bale is loving life in MLS currently. So, no, Champions League, yes, the glitter, the limelight of Champions League football, that's always going to be tough until they do a World Club Super League that doesn't involve.
Is this Yusuf Demir that was at Rapid Vienna?
That's exactly right.
Well, he did try his luck at Barca.
He did.
So that could be the case too, and they might reunite themselves in a derby, an LA derby.
El Trafico. No, really what it comes down to is it could be, I'm not going to say that it's a new era, but it could be the beginning of a new era where young European players that aren't getting, into the squads that they so choose and that they so play for could see MLS as an opportunity. You're right. Champions League ball.
I just prefer Puig.
But really, come on.
You know what I mean?
I hear you, but come on. Think of the what's the word? The academy, not the academies, the infrastructure that's being built in the States right now.
Definitely.
Okay. It's not as historic. It will never. We can't add, and you can't buy 100 years of a club history. Okay, it's grassroots. It's starting right now. It's living history, and it is going to grow, and it's going to grow exponentially in the States, I believe. So, am I biased? 100%. But I believe Riqui Puig could be the beginning of a new transfer era that starts here. That doesn't just involve young South American players or Central American players looking to springboard to Europe via an MLS club, which is going to happen too. So I'm insanely excited to see, and I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. I want to see him succeed, and I want to see him get sold off 2 years from now for $20 million to whatever.
That would be
whatever club.
if that happened. If Riqui Puig would leave LA Galaxy for 20 million, that's true, Breton. A lot of people would change their opinion about the MLS, and they would see it really as a development league, a successful one. But I don't know, man. I don't know if Puig can leave for 20 million for LA Galaxy, but it can happen. Let's wait and see. So put down below your thoughts about the Riqui Puig situation. What should he have done? Did he do the right decision by going to LA Galaxy? Put down below your thoughts about the move. Riqui Puig to LA Galaxy. Did I mention Horta to Benfica, though? I just wanted to... Did I mention Ricardo Horta going to Benfica?
No.
That's the last. I gotta say it. I really believe that's gonna get done. Okay, the game against Sporting has finished. Braga is gonna sell now Ricardo Horta to Benfica. I feel like now's the time to happen. That after
you've been saying this for like the last year now. So
year?
No, I think
how is it a year?
No. 6 months. 6 months. How long have we been doing this?
Summer. Yeah, this summer definitely. Horta.
I do believe though that even back when I'm forgetting who's the boss of Sporting. I'm forgetting his name. Amorim, right? Ruben Amorim.
Yes.
Back when he was at the helm of Braga, you were telling me that at some point I could see Ricardo Horta being a Benfica player.
Man, and because I'll tell you why. Because his brother, André Horta, is a huge fanatic of Benfica. Like, I'll say next level, you know what I mean? So Benfica. And I could see in the family, it's born and bred. So let's see if Horta, both brothers go to Benfica. That I could see that happening long term.
Isn't Andre Horta the one that went to LAFC?
Yes,
and left a year later?
Exactly. And I was gonna say going from Keaton Parks and Andre Horta to Riqui Puig right now. So there is improvement. Yeah. There is improvement. Seeing from the outside looking in. Brenner now in Cincinnati, Talsmagno in New York City FC. I agree. Yep. The South Americans locked. So let's wait and see if the rest goes too. So yes. Any last thoughts, Breton, in the pod?
I think I'm the only one that loves to talk about the Austrian Bundesliga, because if you're trying to find the next Holland, it's a great place to start because that's where he got his come up. Yeah, well, Roko Simic, he'll get going, I'm sure, at some point this season. We all know Benjamin Sesko. I've been talking about Rasmus Winter Holland. There's another name to add to it. He's on loan from Hajduk Split. He's 20 years old. He's Croatian. He's a striker. His name is Marin Ljubicic. And I think you got to add another name to that fight for the golden boot in the Austrian Bundesliga, which ultimately means that you're probably picked up by Red Bull Leipzig for 20 million. And that is this Ljubicic guy, because he just scored 4 goals for them. I don't know if it was their opener or their second game, but he is already at the top of the Bundesliga table, and he's only 20 years old. So this is where you go to find the next new dynamic attacking talents, and apparently they're not all on Salzburg this season.
What are they feeding in Austria, man? It's like what's the pattern here to get all these strikes? It's in the air, exactly.
It's in the air.
Like what? Like, oh my days! But I'd say like Red Bull Salzburg, maybe they show the way to do business, and other teams are just like following it too. I'd say maybe that's the case. If you were employed by Salzburg, then you go to Sturm Graz, maybe.
Well, just remember his name, because he had 4 goals in 60 minutes, but he has 9 goals in his first 4 games of the season. So this is he plays for LASK. I don't know what that stands for, but I do know that they're perennially in the Bundesliga.
Tough team.
And there's just so many good young players to come out of there. They don't get enough clout. They don't get enough love. Unless it's Haaland or Adeyemi. So just watch out for him. I'll be updating you whether you like it or not this season, Alex, on their progress, because I want to.
And I'd say that team, they beat Sporting in the qualifiers at the start with Ruben Emery when he was getting started at Sporting with the rebuild. So the Austrian Bundesliga is a slipped league, but it still has to do a lot of business to get to that. But having a Salzburg, though, being that team, look, Scottish League against Austrian League. I don't know who to pick, maybe. You know what I mean? So let's wait and see. The potential is there. And yeah, keep on going, bold Austrian Bundesliga players. We love to see it. So yes, people. episode 67 in the wraps, man. Do not forget to like this video. It's a huge help for us at FC Wonderkid that you show the support. Hey, 3, 2, thank you for liking that video. And thank you too for subscribing to FC Wonderkid on YouTube. And thank you for listening to episode 67 until now. And thank you for going bold, community. See ya.